So this Galaxy S24 drives the earnings at Samsung's MX business. They call it mobile experience, which mainly is smartphones, whereas Hynix is a pure memory play. The dynamics at Hynix are more driven by the ongoing improvements in the memory cycle. Memory prices have been rising; they're up about 35% from the bottom in the last 2 quarters, and that's driving the earnings at SK Hynix. Whereas and also Samsung's memory business is also driven by the similar dynamics. But Samsung also has this big smartphone business, which in a normal year accounts for about 30% of the company's profits. Last year, 2023 was abnormal year because the memory business made a all-time high, or like biggest loss they had in 20 years. So, but generally speaking, smartphones is about 30% of the profits. And I think this Samsung with this unique AI capabilities and lead in launching this model actually will stands to benefit from this. So we are quite optimistic on Samsung's earnings turnaround this year for mobile business, but also expect improvement for the smartphone business.
Just one question. In terms of price action so far this year, what's going on? I know a strong dollar, a rate cut reassessment, and so on is playing out in emerging markets, but Samsung down 10%, SK Hynix down 7% year to date. Do you think this kind of sell down is justified? And what is your price target for Samsung Electronics?
Yes. So the price action in the Korean stock market in general has been disappointing year to date. In fact, Korea has been one of the worst performing markets, and the stocks like Samsung and SK Hynix have been hit hard. I think there was a lot of domestic institution selling going on. We expect this selling to ease, and the fact remains that both Samsung and Hynix are likely to see very strong earnings improvements in the coming quarters, and even in 2025. We are just coming out of 2 years of memory down cycle. So we are in the second quarter of this improvement in memory ASPs. And we think memory ASPs will continue to rise for the next several quarters because of the big production and capex cuts these companies have made in 2023. So we see significant upside for both Samsung and Hynix from the current levels. Our target price for Samsung is 100,000 won, which will suggest like over 40% upside from the current levels.
So constructive, Sanjeev, on Samsung, but is this latest range of Galaxy smartphones with the AI features going to be enough to help them win back the top spot and subvert Apple? Or are they going to have to settle for second place?
We think it's very likely that Samsung will regain its #1 position in 2024. We are expecting Samsung shipments to increase by about 7% or so. And this will be driven by the launch of this new AI-enabled phone as well as foldable phones. Plus also, the demand in some of the emerging markets is recovering. So that's going to drive Samsung's shipments. So overall for the full market, like global smartphones, we are expecting about 3 to 4% shipment growth. So obviously Samsung will have some market share gain. And whether this will be enough to drive Samsung's earnings, I mean, the big earnings recovery for Samsung this year will be driven by memory business, where we are expecting about 30 to 40% increase in ASPs. Smartphones is going to, of course, help, but not so as much as memory.